Hi guys. So, the last time I read you guys some of my poetry out of my green notebook, it kind of had a bit of a downer ending. So this time, I'm gonna try and read some happier love poems. But before I do, I want to read to you guys an excerpt that inspired the first poem that I'm going to read for you. So, there's this little excerpt in Lolita. I know I mention this book a lot, but it is one of my favorites and one of the more inspiring works that I have read, and I have read it many times and referred back to it many times in my own writing, both in references in poems as well as to, I guess, come up with inspiration. So there is this excerpt that is at the beginning of chapter 3, and it goes like this. There are two kinds of visual memory. One, when you skillfully recreate an image in the laboratory of your mind with your eyes open, and then I see Annabelle in such general terms as honey-colored skin, thin arms, brown bobbed hair, long lashes, big bright mouth. And the other, when you instantly evoke, with shut eyes, on the dark inner side of your eyelids, the objective, absolute optical replica of a beloved face, a little ghost in natural colors, and this is how I see Lolita. So this idea of recreating an image on the back of your mind, and like this, where it is even difficult to describe the person because you see them as this ghost in natural colors, as he said, is one that is very familiar to me, because that is how I feel about a lot of people who I care about. And it can oftentimes be really difficult to describe physically the people who I write my poetry about because of that. So I started with that thought and sort of ran with it. And it kind of evolved into something else. This was one of the first poems that well, not one of the first poems, but one of the first good ones, I'll say, that came out of National Poetry Writing Month last year, or this past year, I'll say. So 2014 in April. And you can sort of see the influence, but it's a little different, so it's a little more my style, about I guess having someone you care about who you only can contact through online, so calls and Skype and stuff like that. And this one is called 5 More Minutes. It's not often that I see you, a ghost in muted colors, behind my eyelids, watercolors painted like you could just run off the page when my eyes open again. It makes it harder to remember somewhere out there you are real. The way your colors bleed into my dreams, it doesn't help that our calls last until one of us falls asleep. You are my 5 more minutes before bread, and every morning you are the space between dreams and consciousness, between the life I live and the life I wish I could. And I don't see you often, but when I do, I like to hold on, even if it's only for 5 more minutes. So you can kind of see the inspiration, particularly in the beginning when there's a ghost in muted colors behind my eyelids. And the way my mind sort of pictured that is almost like a watercolor painting, which is why I went from there with, the colors and stuff like that. But let's ecstasy, when you instantly evoke with shut eyes on the dark inner side of your eyelids the objective, absolutely optical replica of a beloved face, a little ghost in natural colors. So you can kind of see the influence in that bit, but in general, I guess I've used the whole idea of, something behind my eyelids in past poems, although the ghost in muted colors is definitely a cry out to Lolita. But I sort of chose to take that in a different direction with, instead of someone who you haven't seen in a long time, as is the case of Lolita. This is someone who you see regularly, who you see in this context where you do not see them in person. You interact with them, you may call them over the phone or Skype them or instant message them, but there's still that separation between them and your real life universe. So that is that. This next poem is not quite similar, but it's still sort of warm and loving and hopeful, I guess. But this one is also from April, National Poetry Writing Month, and it's titled Warm Bodies. My bed never felt so empty as the night after I met you. Like your words bring me peace, like your heartbeat reaffirms my existence, and I can't wait until you return so I can learn what life feels like. It's a simple little thing, but again, sort of similar to the whole idea of someone's existence feeling almost like a figment of your imagination, and that's kind of an idea that I have played with before and tried to make, poems out of. Some of them more successful than others, clearly, but especially when you're first getting to know someone, it can often feel like that person is not fully real, or like they're imaginary, or you have to convince yourself that they are not something you created in your head. I guess it sounds a bit strange, but like again, like your heartbeat reaffirms my existence. This idea of the heartbeat being the closest to proof of someone being real as you can get is one that I have sort of clung to a little bit, both in philosophy and in poetry. So, I don't know. Heartbeats are sort of fascinating in a way that I cannot quite explain. The next one is a little bit more akin to my other love poems. So a little bit more akin to the Pride and Prejudice love story type poems that I've read to you guys before. But this one was written later in April. It's not chronological because in between these I do have some less happy poems, a couple breakup poems in fact, so clearly that April was a bit messy, processing some old feelings and developing some new ones, but I have decided that rather than reading purely chronological for this bit, it's more important to me to sort of cluster them based on, I guess, mood and theme and stuff like that, so it doesn't end up feeling like a roller coaster if I'm reading to you a breakup poem and a love poem in the same video. So anyway, this one is from later in April, and it's called If Eye Rolls Were Love Letters. If eye rolls were love letters, ours would be the sappiest of romances. Flannel over lace, we take shots of sarcasm straight up. Snide remarks, how your house smells like stale bread, now that smell makes me feel at home. Now your side-eye scoffs make me fall a little deeper every time. Baby, our hip bones could cause fireworks. Friction relieves tension, and you and I both know we have so much of it. Love me subtly, but in detail. I'd kiss your wit if I could, but I'll have to settle for your cheek. That last line is kind of one of my favorites for this type of poem that I've written. The rest of the poem, looking back, isn't anything too special, but I like the I'd kiss your wit if I could, but I'll have to settle for your cheek. That is actually something I've said to someone once or twice, because I like wit, and I like witty people, and I like relationships with witty people, and especially when you are with someone where you have that kind of witty back and forth. That's the kind of thing I like. Although, those of you who have watched multiple of my videos have probably been able to figure that out by now. At any rate, that is going to be it for today. This video is going up earlier in the week because of Thanksgiving later in the week, and I want to see if I have time to put up a Thanksgiving video or something later this week, but I have a lot of family. I'm having somewhere around 15 people in my house for Thanksgiving this year, so I may not end up having time to do another video, or I may end up just doing a very short video. But hopefully I will have time. I really miss being able to do 2 videos a week like I used to, and I try every time I have a little bit less of a workload to do 2, or if I have an idea for 2 videos in 1 week. But that doesn't seem to have happened so far, especially with my graduate school getting busy. But we'll see what happens, especially around the holidays. Things could get busier, or they could lighten up due to break from school and stuff. So that'll be it for today. And I will see you guys either later this week, or if not, next week. Alright, bye. Happy holidays.